Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the
Hey.
original blueprint. This is episode 4 of season 2. And tonight we're going to be we titled this Collect Call, Do You Accept? So we did
I
this
like it.
because we were on the phone today talking, and we were talking about the collective, and we were talking about the calling that we have on our lives
Hmm.
to serve. And as we were talking, I kept hearing collect call, do you accept? And I'm like, what the hell is this? But it's so appropriate though, because how many people hear the call and they don't answer
Right.
because it requires, you know, a little bit of work, a little bit
Yeah.
of like a mindset shift. It
Yeah.
requires a life change, a lifestyle change sometimes.
Yeah.
Like for me, when when I first was called, like I say that like when I had my awakening, I remember sitting and I was like just a mom making
Hmm.
chicken nuggets. That
Hmm.
was it. I didn't have much going on. It wasn't like a thing. And then I couldn't, after I started waking up and seeing all these different things and hearing all the different things, I couldn't go back to a regular life, but I knew that I wasn't
Hey.
walking. Hey, I wasn't like walking the way I was supposed to be.
Right.
I still had like one foot in, one foot out. I knew that I was like called for something more, but I didn't know what it was going to be. So I remember hearing like you have to decide. You can either walk the walk
Hmm.
or you can go back to like your regular life and don't don't. And I remember it was on Clubhouse and it was like so specific, and I actually said like you get a choice to choose, like are you going to show up as the highest version of yourself and show up with love in your heart,
Hmm.
or are you going to keep doing the same shit you're doing?
Right.
And for me, that's when I was like, all right. But I didn't know what it was going to turn into.
No.
I didn't know what this was going to turn into. I was just
Mm-mm.
showing up because I wanted to be the best version of myself, but I didn't know what that was going to look like and what that was
Right.
going to mean for me in general. So I don't know. Like that, it's so crazy because when you think about it, I know we're not the only people who are called to do something. But
Right.
like I said, are you going to accept? Do you accept the challenge? And some
Hmm.
people do, and some people pretend like they can't hear, or they hang up the phone and backtrack. I know
Right.
you were saying about even like Penny Pierce in the
Hmm.
book, how people backslide and go back to old habits.
Right.
So,
But I could see how that is though, because I mean, like for us, it's just been like one thing after another, and it just gets better as we go. So
right.
she was kind of talking about how like how you come to your familiar, then you come to that point that you're talking about, and then you want to pivot and you want to turn back around because you don't know. Like we don't, like we just don't know what we're doing. I mean, I'm not saying we don't know what we're
We don't
doing,
know
but
what we're doing.
we don't. Like
Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
it's so deep. It's so
We're
deep.
just, we're really winging life and just every day showing up. And
But
whatever happens is what it is.
but you know what you always say. One thing you always say, showing up for yourself, and I think
Yep.
that's the key. That's the actual key. You know what I mean? That's the actual key. So once you come out of like thinking that you have to like please everybody else or do this outer thing that you've been doing, and you have to actually learn how to show up for yourself and what that entails. But it's not like this whole like it's not a whole like pamphlet or some type of guide
Cheat
or nothing
sheet.
like that or cheat sheet. You got to do it's like an everyday decision. It really is. And I think
It's
I think
hmm,
that almost it's like whoever you were before or however whatever you was doing before, that's just it's part of it as well. Like I was
right,
always, and you too, like always a certain type of person with a certain
right.
type of heart. You know what I mean? but the only thing was like it was a heart for others and not necessarily for yourself. So I think that kind of
That
gets
part.
it's scary. I mean, it's a scary thing, kind of, if you don't really know what's gonna happen, but you got to just do it afraid, like literally.
Literally. And I think, you know, we don't know what's going to go on every day at all. We don't know. You don't know. Like, we don't know what's going to pop
It's
up.
hilarious. Oh,
We're just literally winging it. But we have so many opportunities that open up
yeah.
because we don't attach anything to what we're doing.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, okay, put the people in front of me who are, aligned with my highest good, that are going to be the best for my soul's growth. Like,
Yeah.
that's who I want to be around. I don't want to be around people. It's not personal. If you're not doing the inner work, what are we doing? You know, I get that like life gets in the way and people are doing things, but like really, when you get called to walk in the highest version of yourself, it entails a lot of things. And I know that it's not for everybody, because at first it wasn't for me. I was like, yeah, I really love making chicken nuggets, and I couldn't imagine at the time a version of me like being a leader. Like I was leading myself, I guess. But I never thought of myself as like being like a trailblazer or branching out. I never thought of any of that. Like you even said, like we never, like who thought we were going to be on a podcast? And not just a podcast.
I never thought I was going to be on a podcast because first of all, I'm too shy. I'm like I was like too shy. And I am like that really. But to me, it's like a difference between doing something and then being called to do something.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I knew that I had to develop something. I didn't know what it was that was going to make me just be like, and I want to say that to you, I feel like that's like, you might say that you're not a leader, but see, it's really how you look at it. Because to me, I feel like you do lead in that type of way, because I'm not that type of person to just be like, oh, I just want to just be out in the forefront, in this front and center. But it was like almost like I have to. Now I have legs. I do look at myself as some type of form of a leader on a spiritual level, because I've always been like this. But it was not on like a whole platform or audience and stage and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so I just feel like it's like something that develops inside of you as far as leadership, but it's not leadership like we've been known to think of leadership. It's like leading yourself. That is what you're supposed to do. Lead yourself. Lead by example. You know what I mean? And just be yourself. Be yourself, you know? That's the thing I'm loving about this whole thing, is I'm just able to be my whole complete self unapologetically.
That part.
Whimsical, crazy,
magically delicious. The download magically delicious, girl.
Yes.
Well, because not for nothing, like I've spent most of my life like playing small for people. And like when I say lead, like I remember hearing leader in this one room a lot, and she was like, well, there's no leaders here. There's no leaders here. And I was like, I took that as like a bad connotation, even though for me, it was leading myself. And then as you show up as who you are, then it allows other people to see you doing that and want to aspire to do that too, because they see the type of freedom that comes with taking accountability for yourself and really kind of honing in on who you are as a person. Like if I have everybody else telling me who I am, I don't really know who I am.
No.
You know, and for a long time, I listened to other people. I wasn't like really I wasn't in the now. I was living in like the past, or I'd be in the future, but I was never like here, present, actually experiencing life. Like, but even I think last night when we were in that room, I think it really occurred to me that this really is on a different type of level. And I think we noticed it when we were reading the Cosmic Laws of Awareness. And I said to you, like, this information doesn't just come to everybody,
No.
you know? And
Mm-mm.
you feel like a certain weight, not of responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
but it's responsibility to myself to make
Mhm.
sure that I'm walking what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I definitely take pride in, is that I know, like, I'm showing up how I would expect somebody else to, because how can I expect someone else to show up like that if I'm not?
Right.
But I think last night I felt the gravity of it
It was
in
something.
that room.
Yeah. I don't know.
There was something. And I felt
It was.
it just felt like
you know, it doesn't,
thing.
like, we read stuff, but it's always more about like our connection and how we come off the mic and say how we're feeling and express ourselves and be, you know, individual about how we feel. But then, like I said, sometimes somebody might say something that you don't even have the words to say. You know, that's the real, to me, meat of the whole experience. And last night was, I'm telling you, I was like emotional. Like, even like we read that Augment, you know, that, like, I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? I'm like, but I felt that. I felt those words. And it's like, even reading that every day, like when you read it last night, I heard something different. Literally. I can't remember what part it was, but just the fact, I was like, oh my God, like, and it's really true accountability, because that first line is saying, you know, I will, you know, like, have love in my heart,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that is the secret of success. Because it's like, we think that, you know, success is material, like we talked about last night in the room, like it's material things and this and that and this and that. But honestly, it's like, because you really attract whatever it is that you really want. And like the whole room last night, everything everybody said, it just got to me. It really just, I just felt every bit of it. I really did. And you know, and speaking of collective and all that, because what we're talking about is the call and then the collective that comes together and aligns itself. And I felt that last night with us. I really did.
Yes.
You know?
No, it feels different. It feels like you said, like Voltron coming together.
Yeah.
Because like we've, you know, you and I connected, and we've been in different, like we've had different people around us.
Yeah.
But it's been us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like, it feels like now everybody, like, it feels like togetherness.
Mm-hmm.
And like a collective, like everybody wants to see each other grow. Everybody wants to see each other shine.
Yes.
And like that is a different than previous. Like what we're experiencing now is just amazing. And like showing up and supporting each other, holding space. Like Shay and Romano with that room last week, that room was beautiful. And like being able to come together and serve other people.
Right.
Like I used to hear that when I first went on Clubhouse, they were talking about servant leadership, and I was like, I don't even really know what that is. Servant leadership.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, what does that even mean? You know?
Mm-hmm.
But then it was basically showing up and giving without expectation.
Yeah.
And when we were doing the rooms on Clubhouse, like that's to me what we were doing the whole time. We were showing up without expectation. Hours serving.
How many days? Every day.
Oh my God. At one point it was 5 days. Then it was 3. Then it was
hours at
trainings. Yeah. Like
long hours.
And like looking back, like I knew we were doing it. Like we were doing it for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, it benefited a lot of people, you know? So even now, like as everybody's growing and everybody's learning and coming together, like we're all expanding. And I love that, because these are people who heard the call and they didn't hang up the phone. They were like, okay, like everybody's at their own pace. Everybody's doing their own things, but collectively you feel the love in the room. And that I love, because I always wanted a place to feel safe.
Right.
I feel like when we were in the other community, we made it a point to show up that way and make other people feel safe.
Yeah.
And that was so important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so important too to like let people know like how great they're doing.
Yeah.
Because working on yourself is thankless.
It really is.
When you like really boil it down, you gotta thank you for you, you know, because no one else is gonna be like, good job working on yourself. But I wish that I had somebody go Melissa, go, like, you know, and I feel like had I had that at first, I wouldn't have been like, oh God, like I'm gonna make chicken nuggets. Like, this is, what do you mean I'm called to do something greater than what I'm doing? Like, I thought raising my kids was
the greatest. I mean,
my greatness. And it is the most important thing that I do in my life is my children.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. Like, it's more like, now as I'm like really seeing what's going on, I'm like, last night for me, it just showed like, and when I was talking to you today, I'm like, this is bigger than I thought. This is like a call, like we've talked about, like, oh yes, this is our calling. Like, I felt that shit last night.
Right.
Like, I felt that, and I was like, wow, like, oops, sorry, that's my wealth and success reminder. It is 3 times a day. 3 times a day. But I mean, honestly, like, if you would have told me last year that we would be sitting here, I wouldn't have believed you.
No,
I wouldn't have believed you.
Not at all. And every day is just so like a gift.
Magical.
Like it is. It is. Like
magical.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like what we've been reading, our mindset, all that, it just gears you up to do an unselfish act every single day. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go help an old lady cross the street. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's like, because think about what we've been on thoughts. It makes you produce these thoughts.
Yes.
That we already know. Once we think it and we go to the 4D, go to whatever, and manifest that, and then wait for the call, wait for how it's going to, show up or whatever.
Wait for direction,
Then it's going to come. So it just gears us in that mindset to be able to think those type of things and then create and then have those things manifest. You know what I'm saying? I've always wanted like world peace and so, but it's like, I never really thought that you need to, I thought it was just like, you need to start with yourself, or you need to be the
right.
What's that whole line? You have to be something that you want
to
be
the change you want to see in the world.
But it's the truth.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's the only truth. And that's what I think people don't realize. They're their own universe.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I knew somebody that was like, well, I want to change, da 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 da, and all these things. And I'm like, right, but are you doing these things?
Mm-hmm.
No. So what are you doing? Like, if you want to see all these things that you want to see, are you showing up like that? Is that who you're being? Mm-hmm. And the answer is usually no. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, I remember I was outside. We were in the Diamond Sutra room. And it was like the ends of the room. And we were doing like one of the meditations. And there was like some sound bowl action going. And I remember hearing, are you dependent or dependable? And I was like, that's a good question. That is a good question.
You heard that on your own? You heard that yourself?
I heard that.
Or somebody said that?
No, I heard that when we were having the sound bowl action. That's when I heard that. I was like, oh shit, like, am I being dependent or dependable? And I was like, oh God, like I gotta really go sit with myself. But that was when I was like, figuring out like, am I gonna take this walk? Because really, when I look back to see even what this has entailed, I had to give up a lot of shit I was doing that was not in alignment with what I wanted to be.
Just thought
I had
processes, period. I'm just
thought processes, the way I was consuming on watching television, the things I was eating, smoking weed. Like, no, I'm not, anybody could smoke weed. You could do what you like.
Yeah.
For me, it came up for me that that was something I needed to stop. I needed to stop because it was more of the fact that it was like a habit versus being productive for me. And it was something that I felt called to stop because I had to rid myself of those attachments, because those are all attachments. And really that's what the sutra, a lot of the sutra was banging me in the head with. There's all these things outside of you. If they all stopped, what are you going to do? You're going to fall apart?
Right.
You know? So it made me really want to stop. It made me want to not be like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I really very rarely watch TV. And like I said, everybody could do what they want. But like for me, TV is a distraction from what I'm supposed to be doing for myself.
Yeah, everything is like, to me, because like that's another thing I love about this whole journey too, is like what somebody else is doing is not the same thing for you, or
no, and it's not supposed to be.
That's not how it goes, because there's no judgment. It's like oh, you're doing this, so you shouldn't be doing it because I don't do that, or all that type of stuff. Like it's none of that. It's just straight up free across the board. Whatever you will know if you're doing inner work, what's the distractions for you.
Right. And that's, well, that's exactly what it is. Like you can't, I think a lot of people, they think it's going to look different for them. Like not different for them, but like, it's going to be like, if someone sees you running your race, they're like, oh, well, what's she doing? Cause I'll do that too. And some of the things, some of the things can give you like a leg up. Like, if you don't put certain things into practice, like for instance, the book we're reading. We're going in every day. We're reading this. We're reading it 3 times a day, reprogramming our minds literally with beautiful words that are transforming us. So, but for other people, that might not be a thing. That might not be something that like interests them. That might not be what makes them grow.
Right.
But for us, it works, you know?
And, even like the route that we took, it's just so, I don't even know how to say it. Like everything that led up to that point. I mean, I'm just going to speak for myself. I don't even know if I'll be able to even, because I think that I would have thought of 400 something days? I would have thought of that as like, oh, I'm thinking
torture.
Like a carnal, linear, physical way. As opposed to being exposed to the 40-day challenge thing that we did first. And then turned around and did it again. It like set us up.
Do it again. And then do it again.
And then when I was over, I was like, excuse me. And then you decide to start just reading that in the thing too, at the end of the, the challenge that we're doing right now, which is so good. But like that to me set me up to even be like, okay. Because I know if I would have heard that, I'd been like, this lady, she lost her mind.
She got some shit going on.
She's doing a lot today.
But even with the 40-day thing at first, I was even like,
yes.
I'm like, I don't know. Are you sure you want to do this? Like, are you down for every day for 40 days? And now, meanwhile, we're already into the 3rd round of it.
3rd round. I'm immediately, I'm like, must have been with Moses. 40 days, 40 nights. Doing on the mountain for 40 days, 40 nights. I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'll experience it. Let's see what's gonna happen. But yeah, but it comes to a point of you really like you said, answering the call.
Yeah. And like I said, it can be scary because it's something you've never done before. The things, and going blindly, I think that's really what it is for me. It's the blind, like I gave up and surrendered to the fact that like all the things that I've done all these years, I've been in charge.
That part.
and shit was a mess. So like now I had to put my trust in something higher than me because
Yeah.
I know that's what saved me so far,
Right.
even though it was unbeknownst to me. But
Mm-hmm.
now I'm like, well, I didn't really know what I was doing. And here now I know that I can just follow, what I hear, like
Yeah.
follow my higher self. And I'm like, oh,
Literally.
yeah. And now it's like all like boop, boop, boop falling into place like puzzle pieces. Like, okay, do this. And then this happens. This happens. And it's not linear, but
No.
it's like, it's almost like, what is that? Like, when you play dominoes or like you take the dominoes and you line them up and then like you boop the domino and it like falls and they all fall.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of effect where it's like you energetically, you're doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
You might not see it. You might not see it around you, but then energetically, all this stuff is lining up.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff is starting to happen. Things are moving, shaking. People are coming out of nowhere. Everybody's aligning. And it's like, oh my God, like we've been waiting for this. Like we've been waiting for this. And now it's like showing up. So it's so cool to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said to you, if we didn't know each other this whole time,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't, if we haven't watched each other grow and learn and do all the things,
Mm-hmm.
nobody'd even believe us.
No.
It's the fact that we're experiencing it together.
Yeah, it's the witness.
Yeah, like because a lot of the stuff, like, people might think you're doing something because there's so many magical things happening. So people are bewildered and befuddled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just showing up. We're just showing up.
I'm literally nothing.
And I think that's the biggest thing is less is more.
Yeah.
Less is more. Mm-hmm. People think you have to be, I always say like a yogi master yodeling on your head. Like it's not even that serious. No. And I think I was saying earlier to E, I said, I think like when I woke up not knowing anything benefited me. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't have anything attached to what that even meant.
Right.
I wasn't like committed to a certain way of thinking. We've read the sutra, that was Buddhism. I don't know anything about Buddhism, but that book resonated with me.
Right. It wasn't even about
a thing or a religion or a name or a leader or
none of it.
Nothing. And I feel like that put me in a better place because I didn't have like attachments to what these things meant. You know what I mean? Like,
no, you asked me about the rice on the window. The mirror.
Oh my God. Well, because I couldn't remember what that saying was, but like, we've seen a lot of different people come through Clubhouse and,
oh my God.
I'm the type of person that
each his own.
It's to each his own. But if you are saying you're doing something, you better be doing it. Mm-hmm. If you're telling people, if you have a public platform and you're telling people you do something, you better be really doing it.
Right.
You better be walking it. You better be talking it because otherwise you're fraudulent,
Straight fraudulent.
And it's really, I get that it happens and it's not a judge thing. It's truth, And at this point, even with all the things we're experiencing, I wouldn't be able to show up how I do if I wasn't doing the things I'm doing.
Yeah. How do you do? It's not an act.
No. It's so effortless and it's so natural. Right. And I think that's what some people don't understand. And maybe it frustrates people or whatever. But when you're not really trying and you're being, because that's our job is to be. Mm-hmm. It's not to be doing extra And yeah, you don't always know how things are going to show up. You don't know how things are going to work out. Even
Right.
collectively, you don't know what that's going to look like, but you keep showing up and going, you know what? Maybe we're going to figure out like
Yeah.
who it's going to be. Maybe we're going to see who we're going to work with. Like
Yeah.
even when we were talking
Right.
about like an episode of Star Trek, like if this was our episode of Star Trek, who else is on the ship?
This is what we've been asking though, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like it's starting to
Who
appear.
is it? Who is on the ship with us? And we're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, who is
Yeah.
it? But I feel like now we're like, okay, now we know who's showing up. Now we
Mhm.
know who's on the ship because you can feel it energetically. It's like a whole.
And it's because
Like
they're just doing their own work. They're doing the work. They're doing their own work.
Yeah, they're just showing up
That's what it
and
takes.
doing the work for themselves, and it's so beautiful. Like
Mhm.
I'm telling you, I say it all the time in the room because it's true. Like energetically, people underestimate what they're doing. Showing up, getting on a call, listening to words of affirmation, that is life changing. With people that are doing that too,
Mhm.
like energetically, I just see like a whoosh on the way out,
Yeah.
And like I want to read the one part because I love it so much. The part from the review paragraph,
Mhm.
just to give everybody kind of a taste of like what we're doing in the morning
Yeah.
and why it's so powerful. Because if you really started to look at life like this, you would see such a shift.
Yep.
And it might not happen overnight, but you're going to see it as you're showing up. You're going to be like, wait, I feel
Start
a little
recognizing
different.
it. Yeah.
Like I'm walking a little different. I'm a little more proud of myself today.
Yeah.
Like I'm taking the time to show up for me. I'm putting time aside to be the best version of me.
Mhm.
Okay, like it's a big deal.
Like this is what it looks like.
Yeah, and like it feels good to do it. Because people
It's
make
not
it
this huge presentation either. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna be here tomorrow. It's not like this.
hear ye. I gotta tell you that I'm showing up today. It's not even that. You're like, okay, I'm here. Like, all right. Like, and I get it. I get it. But it's not even that serious. It's not that hard. It's not hard. I'm sorry. If I could do it, anybody could do it. And I swear, when I hear people say stuff sometimes, I want to like, because if there are people, if you see somebody doing anything, it's proof in the pudding. You could do it too. Because what is the difference? There is no difference between us. We're all collectively the same. We are all from the same source. I am no better than anybody else.
No.
I just made a different decision, and everybody could do that.
That's
and it's intimidating because you're like, could I? Yes.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's just okay. I remember when I first started, like when I first was like I was like really sick of myself and like really sick to my stomach. And I found this book, and it was from Hal Elrod. And it was called The Miracle Morning. So there was something on there called the Savers List. So it was S was scribing, A was affirmations, V visualization, E exercise, R I don't remember what R was, but S was
dig that back out.
Yeah, well, I just came across it in my Audible. That's why I'm even like bringing it up.
That needs to happen.
But it was like literally getting up early. Getting up early changed my whole life because I was doing something outside of my norm.
Right.
It was not something I was sleeping till 10, 11 o'clock. Who does that as an adult? Like should not have been doing that. I had other things to do. I was ignoring them, pretending like I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do it later. But I was like, you know what? You got to do something drastic. And this was just for me at the time. I'm not telling
Right,
anybody go get up and jog at 5:30. I'm
yeah.
not telling you to do that. But I had to really be like, all right, what can I do to shake shit up for me? And getting up early was it.
For you.
And I was so proud of myself. Man, I was like, I get up at 5:30 in the morning and people are like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you don't understand. Once you do it, you're like, oh shit. Because honestly, the energy at that time, I feel like because no one's really up, nobody's up.
It is.
And the energy, the tap in is just different. It's not the same as being like when everybody else is active. And I was just like loving that. And it was so helpful. Yeah. And like now I still listen, I don't love getting up early, but I love being able to sit with myself quietly without distraction, without anybody talking to me, nobody looking at me. I get to drink my little coffee, write my affirmations, and like it's those little things.
Right.
But that was something that, you know, I wasn't doing this stuff before, but it's possible.
It is.
It's possible. It's not something that's so far-fetched. It doesn't have to be a big exorbitant thing you're doing. It can literally just be, I got up a half hour early today.
Right.
I decided to go for a walk today. That's it. And it's an energetic whoosh.
It is. But you know, and that's also, but you know, it's a thing too, like when you're called, because it's like, there's a whole bunch of self-help stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff out, a whole bunch of literature out and stuff. But it's a difference to me when, because I've watched us get things like called to us. You know what I mean? And you don't know. It's like, how can I describe it? It's like, to me, because we are saying something without saying it in our own selves. You have to be like, you have to be willing. You have to be willing.
Yeah. Oh,
you can't just be like, because like I said, like other people might think that that's just the hardest task in the world to try to get up and start doing this, or they might work late nights. You know what I mean? And they can't get up that early in the morning. This is my thing. I don't want people to think that this is the formula. You're just talking about a formula for you. Whatever the formula is for you, whatever you're willing to do from the inside of you, is what it's going to take.
And it's really a decision.
Yes, and then but you'll start seeing things come to you.
Yep.
Like we were talking earlier, and I was like, I was looking, I was like seeing it energetically, like the difference between things going out and then things coming in. Like me receiving, because it's not just like about me receiving. We talked about this the other day in the room. Source is the greatest of givers. So that you know, you can't beat that type of giving. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you are a receiver of that and you're already a giver, it's like a revolving door that never stops.
Exactly.
And that's what this whole collective thing to me is about. Because if everybody's is always an open vessel to receive, and they're going to give, it's going to keep, you know, your cup overflows, and then it's going to keep on circulating. And when you know that to be true, without a shadow of a doubt, you don't have any blockages. You don't have any questions. You already know what flow that it's going to take in you. You have to, like, you know what I'm saying? You like, so like, in other words, when like certain type of blockages come up, the way you might have dealt with it before, you don't deal with it like that any longer. You don't even deal with it. You align yourself. You find where the blockage is at, and you smash and demolish it, because you already know if you don't do that, then it's going to stop the flow that's supposed to be a revolving door. You understand what I'm saying? Like you literally say, I am this vessel. I am going to go ahead and just, you know, and like when you said you heard, are you dependent or dependable? For me, I heard you say that a lot of times. And for me, when I think about source, I do want to be dependent on that, you know, because I wasn't before. See, my problem, like I told you, my problem was always feeling like I could fix something, or I could do this and I can do that, and I couldn't. You know what I mean? And it's like you want to fix all this stuff for everybody else, but you don't know. You think that you're fixed, and there's certain things that I need that needs to work to be like smashed and demolished in you that are laying dormant that you don't even know that's there. You know what I'm saying? So I would be like, I would hear, oh, ask your guides for help, or just whatever we say, certain thing, whatever it means to anybody. And I would just kind of be rejecting that. Like, not like I felt like I just had God and that's it. You know what I mean? But now it's like the fact that how I'm seeing source, I'm like,
it's different.
It's different. It's different because it's something like he was saying the other night, like last night. It's already there.
Mm-hmm.
You can just actually have access to it, as long as you know that you have access to it.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't know you have access to it, then you try to go and do all this other stuff to try to get it. And get what? What are you trying to get?
Right.
It doesn't belong to you like that for you to even be getting. You know what I mean? I don't know.
People are looking for stuff,
different.
Material, but they're spiritually bankrupt, Right. And to like when I was hearing dependent or dependable, at the time I think because I was being dependent on people.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Versus actually like linking to source, like being aligned with that. Like now knowing that it's just me, source is my supply. And I'll say it again because it's my favorite now. My consciousness of God as my supply is my supply. So no, I'm not looking outside of me. I know it's me.
Nothing is separate. Yeah.
No. And it's so crazy because, like I said, people are out here, they're chasing a bag. They're like, oh, I need this, this, and this. But in your heart, spiritually, you're bankrupt. You got nothing. You don't, because you could lose it. Yeah. But when you're linked up, no one could take that from you.
Right.
No one can take your peace from you unless you allow them. No one can disconnect you from source. Only you can do that. Nobody can take that from you. It's not physical.
Right.
Yeah. So it's such a different way of thinking. And I know like some people, they hear it and they don't get it. And I get that too, because I didn't get it. These books, when we talk about the books and stuff, these books come to me. Yeah. They hunt me down, and I'm not even exaggerating. I wish I was. They'll come through once. If I don't acknowledge, again. And now I just listen because it's just how it works in my world.
Right.
I don't know why. TikTok is just like part of it for me. Mm-hmm. Books coming to me, they come on TikTok, they come through people. Mm-hmm. Somebody will mention something to me, I'll look it up. Remember, okay, so Lindsay brought up to me that book, the 3 something. I forget what it was called.
Oh man, that was good.
And I started looking at that, but then here comes the abundance book.
Right.
I listened to it.
It's attraction. I'm telling you.
I listen to it. I send it to you. Mm-hmm. Your jaws dropped. My jaws dropped. Mm-hmm. We're like, let's do it. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. Same thing now with this Og Mandino book. We're doing the prosperity challenge. Mm-hmm. We're like, all right, we're going to hunker down, do this for 40 days. Boom. Here's 40-day round 2. All of a sudden, I'm getting dinged in the head with Og Mandino. What? So I ignored it at first because I'm like, what the hell is this now? Am I ready for this? I don't know what this is. And I'm like, all right, let me look at it. I look at it. There's a 45-week challenge. And I'm like, oh, geez. And I'm like, Angelique's going to think I'm off my rocker with this one.
What else are you doing?
But that's what I'm saying. And right away you were like, no, let's do it. And I was like, oh shit. Like, okay.
Listen,
okay.
I'm right.
But I'm saying, like, I was like 45 weeks shit. But then I'm like, that's just August. It's already going to be November.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, let's do it. But it's just so funny. You were like, all right. And then like the fact that like people
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. He said
That's
they
exactly
keep
that's what's
all
going
them
on.
to you.
That's what's so crazy.
But that's the crazy part
That's
is
what's been
that
going on. Oops, sorry, y'all.
that's the crazy part though is yeah, we're calling them in, we're attracting them in, but it's just so crazy because these aren't like regular books. They're like a whole transformation shit. And it's like, how is this even happening? And I just laugh because again, if we weren't experiencing it
Yeah.
in real time and like the shit we're seeing is incredible.
We ain't gonna say we're not even gonna talk about that.
Straight up magical shit
Caitlin,
going on.
I'm
Magical
not
shit
gonna talk
going
about
on.
the things that we're seeing because at this point, I'm not gonna go there. But to me,
There's just a lot. But
I ain't
it's
gonna
like,
say nothing else about nothing. Like,
but the more that we work on ourselves,
yeah,
the more that we're seeing what goes on out here.
mm-hmm.
And I know that's the key. And
Yep,
like that's why a lot of times I feel like sometimes it's like, all right, like I'm showing up, I'm doing the things, and people see it. Maybe they get discouraged. Maybe they don't know where to start, you know? But really, it's not supposed to be hard. Like it says in the Way of Mastery that it's easy. What does it say? Easy and it's not effortless. It's something to the effect of effortless. But the way is supposed to be easy and effortless,
mm-hmm.
basically.
And that's the really crazy part because at first I was like, this it's not enough drama. I mean, I'm not a drama type of person, but I was like, dang, this is easy. Like this is like
It's too
flowing. Like
easy.
I'm thinking like because it's like I felt like it was gonna be some hard, it's like task or whatever it is. It's not. It's really
Mm,
not. It's really not. But
no.
I think it's more of like the stuff that that you don't let go of. That's what the contrast like Nazi says and like it's like it combats. But it comes down to how you feel though, because if it's not making you feel good or feeling, then that's an indication you probably need to let that go.
Right. Exactly.
You
If
know,
it's not in flow, you gotta let it go.
mm, like the
Like
peace
literally.
and stuff like that. And once I experience real peace, it's like
You
our
can't, yeah.
rooms are peaceful, our connections are peaceful, our bonds are peaceful. You know what I mean? It's not a lot of effort that has to take place. You know what I mean? And so once I really experienced that, because it took a long time to experience that, and I remember at one time it was so crazy. We was in one of the rooms, and this man came in. He was supposed to be like I don't know if he's a reader or he did numbers or whatever, and he wasn't really talking to me, but I was just like, okay. He was like, he's like, I'm gonna get on you. I was like, I'm like shy. I'm like, please don't get on me. And he was like, you have always just dealt with everybody else's stuff. Everything that's going on for you has always been everybody else's stuff. It's not even
Right.
you. And he was like, and he was saying, God, he said, but the things that God's about to do because of how you are and because of what you've been called to do is going to be so huge. I cannot wait to see what's getting ready to happen. And I was like, okay, that's cool because I'm like, I could not wait to feel the peace so that
Right.
those things can be in the flow. Like I didn't know it was going to be like this, but it was like hearing him say that and then it be like this right now. It's like I know that this is part of what he was actually saying because I know that was source actually saying it.
Speaking through him. Yeah.
It was just and it was because it's nobody else going on but you. This is your movie, and we understand that. You know what I mean? At the same time, the characters that are in it, as are presenting themselves. So I had to look at it like, okay, it's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this person did not know me from Adam to even come and say that. You know what I mean? And I wasn't looking for anybody to say anything to me about nothing,
Right. Right.
But like to see it here now, live and direct in effect right now happening, and then there's just so much more that is about to just develop. it's amazing. And it's also like, but it's going to take the like-minded collective. And I think sometimes people get misconstrued with the collective thing, thinking like you have to, it's something that you have to collect, or you have to collect these bodies or this type of thing or this organization or this type of thing. No, it's the like-mindedness of your own self within you, going within, and then you realize that that's what you are a part of, is the one, is the wholeness. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like a whole web.
thing.
It's a web of consciousness. Like, you know, I heard something years ago and I always thought about it because it was like, I think it was from like a Prince interview, and he was saying he heard an idea for a song and he knew he had to get up and record it, because if he didn't, then like Michael Jackson would have recorded it. And I was like, how would that
energetically,
how would that even be possible?
I'm telling you.
We're all in the collective. So if you get an idea, and you don't execute it, that shit's going to somebody else. When I see it now, I think of like right now, what I'm seeing is the roots of trees. And that is energetically how we are all connected in consciousness. Like, that's why once you break like the threshold, once you're like aware that it is a collective, you phase out from like these lower densities. Like you phase out the bullshit where you're like, I gotta get something. I gotta do something. When you break through that threshold, though, then you start seeing like, no, wait a second. This is a different game. This is like live and direct. Like this is real time. It's not, and it's in the now. So now when I look at it, even like when I was getting the idea for the apples, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta like chop and like put this out right now, because if I don't, it's gonna boop to the next person. And that's how it works. I've seen it happen with people, and I've done it personally, because I get a lot of information and I don't always, like, sometimes I know it's for other people. I'll call people. I'm like, listen, I got this. This is what I heard for you. It's just, exactly. The World Wide Web. That and really, since this is the inversion of it, you know, I feel like that's like the web is literally like what consciousness is. Right. It's the web. And then because they know that, you have the World Wide Web, you have the Ethernet, you have all that stuff. And
from that,
and it's just the duplicate.
People are not understanding it's a copy.
Yep.
But when you don't even know who you are, then you don't see that. Like, oh my God, I was watching this thing today. He was talking about how we've been having technology, and this guy was just saying that they were making stuff in black and white TV to make it seem like stuff was so much older,
right?
But they still already had the technology for color. You know what I mean? And then they took something that was old, like it was supposed to be black and white. And I'm saying old because that's what I'm.
Right. That's what you think. Right.
And then they made it into color. And it was like, and I can see you taking something color and making it black and white. But how, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot of trickery that we don't really, first of all, we're getting involved in what somebody else is saying to us, which is always the thing, as opposed to listening to your inner self, because we don't really know that. Yeah. Once you start doing that, it's a wrap, pretty much. It's pretty much just go. Like, it's just nonstop. You know what I mean? And it's like I would not want it any other way at this point. You know what I mean? It seemed like I just knew only one way, and then now, like he was saying too about how everything's running parallel, it's running concurrent. You know what I mean? But only knowing one side of it and not being aware of the other side to even make a choice is like, whoa. But now that I see the whole thing, I wouldn't even want it any other way, though, you know?
No. And when I think of it now, first of all, once you see, you can't unsee what you know. Like, you can't unknow what you know.
Right.
But like, it's so deep. It's so deep. It's so crazy. I know it's all like, I would have never believed a lot of this stuff.
Mhm.
I already knew a lot of stuff, but once I like woke up and really was bombarded with information that I was like, what is this?
Mhm.
And now knowing what we know and just learning, integrating, and watching everything, it makes me really wonder, like, as much as there are people, the same amount of people that know this,
Mhm.
there's a whole other spectrum of people who don't.
Mhm.
And a whole other spectrum of people that if you told them, they would never believe you.
Mhm. Yeah.
And they feel alone, like they feel like they're on a solo mission.
Yeah.
But they're not. None of us are,
Mm-mm.
And I was thinking about too today when we were talking about, you were saying something about like you thought you were going to do something with somebody, but they kind of like went off their
Yeah.
mission.
Mhm.
And I really think that everybody is on their own mission.
Yeah.
Just like the hero's journey, all that stuff. But like, if you're not paying attention, you can get sidetracked easily.
Man, that is the truth.
Easily.
If you don't stay for that is the truth.
And
For
it's
my own
just,
self.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I mean, because there were times where I'd be like, like skirt, like go to the left, like, because I wanted to take like a breather. But then at the same token, I'm like, why?
Well, you know what? Too, I think you said something too, and we were dealing with this back in the Diamond Sutra room. Like that book or whatever that was, it brought me to the present. Because I remember it was like I remember so vividly not operating in the present.
No, me either.
Being there, being with my kids, but not being there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just doing the robot, just doing the autopilot stuff. Literally autopilot.
Yeah.
And I don't even feel that no more. Like, and it's like going within and stuff for me. It's like you said, it's everything's live. It's like present. Everything is present.
Yeah. Like
And
there's nothing else going. Like you say, nothing else going on. It's just
nothing else going on. It's nothing else going on, and that makes you that. And I'll say you, and I'm talking about myself, but that makes you be like in the now so much that because the derailment is usually when you drift off.
Yeah.
And you could be like thinking about something in the past or the future, and that will take you somewhere else. You'll sit up there and really be lost, trying to get your way back to the middle. And I remember it's a song by NDRE. It goes, "Come back to the middle." And then she's like in the song, she's like talking about all these different scenarios of different people or whatever. I don't know if you ever heard it, but she like tells a story about how they kind of drifted off, whatever, in different like scenarios. And then she was like, "When will you learn to come back to the middle?" Because and now I really know what the middle is. I used to sing that
the neutral
song. I didn't even know she was talking about, and now I do. Like when I put it on, I'll probably put it on after this podcast because I just want to hear that. Because when you are in the now and when you're in the present, like you said, it's like we're waiting to see what's next. Every step forward,
yeah, it's like
bringing you to the new. You know what I mean? Like whatever is next. Not I wonder what's over here. I wonder what's over there. It's not a wondering. It's just like okay, I'm just focused. Whatever it is, I'm just let it happen. You know what I mean? It's like
an unfolding.
It's unfolding. It's like it's so different than to be wondering in tense. You know what I mean? And I just felt, and then the fear, and then the tightness of trying to ponder and wonder. It's just
because you're trying to control something you have no control over.
That part.
And like I'm like so done with that.
Done.
Because I know whatever I'm telling you, and this I know to be true. whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen. And you're not in charge of it anyway.
No.
You know, you're not in charge. It's
No.
going to show up how it's going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to align with you or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I always think about too, though?
Mm-hmm.
When I think of how everything works energetically,
Yeah.
I see like a tuning fork.
Mm-hmm.
So the tuning fork is there and you're like in tune, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then things come and like they're like a magnet to you.
Right.
But when you're not in alignment, it like goes to the left, goes to the right, and you miss it.
Mm.
You know?
That part.
And that's the same thing that happens when you're like trying, like when people are trying to like manifest or do something, they feel like, oh, like I want this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they're waiting for this specific thing.
Right.
But then they fall out of alignment.
Yep.
They have, you know, negative vibrations. They got stuff going on. So they're, you know, their brain's somewhere else. They're not being intentional with their thoughts. And then here comes the thing, but it can't find you. So it's like, boop.
That's it.
So that's why, like, you know, doing these rooms every day, keep you even keel.
Yes.
Keep you focused on what you're doing.
Right.
You know, like slow and steady wins. I always think of the tortoise and the hare because people are trying to get somewhere fast and there's nowhere to go.
The tortoise sitting there waiting on like, hey.
Yeah, like, hey guys, what's going on? Like, like, but it's like there's no, like, the thing that you're waiting for, it's going to come to you. But you just have to be solid in yourself, and then everything just comes in for you. It's not supposed to be hard.
Mm-mm.
It's not supposed to be annoying or frustrating or any of these things. It's supposed to be, get ready to receive.
Yes.
All things are coming to you. And it's like, if it's in alignment with you, it's going to come to you. If you think about it and it's something that's in alignment with you. And you know what? If it doesn't come, it doesn't mean never. It just might not mean not now. You know,
it's
it might not.
I think that we start, matching. I think that we start like thinking thoughts that are for us, like vibrational matches and, you know, things like that. You see what I'm saying? Like you start like cleaning up your vessel, like opening it up for you to receive what's already. That to me, that's so foundational. That abundance.
Get the clutter out.
Abundance book talking about if you have a certain way of thinking, then you don't love God or you don't.
Yeah.
Because that's already there for you. All of it. You start tapping in. It's like, it's so funny because it's like you start thinking the thoughts of God. You start thinking the will of God.
Yep.
With yourself. You start thinking the higher thoughts of your higher self for yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then those things are going to come because it's already yours. You're just tapping into, what is that thing that you tap into? Even like going to search for gold. We know it's gold in there. We just want to tap, we just go find it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We know there's diamonds in there. We just got to go find them.
Yeah.
We just got to go in there and just get them. You know?
But see, even in that book last night, it was talking about 3 feet from gold. And it's the guy, he's sitting there and he's mining. And like they hit a vein of gold. They made a bunch of money, but then it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of them just keep going forward, they sold their equipment and kept it pushing.
Mm-hmm.
The next man comes along and is like, let me ask a professional.
Right.
And then they moved like 3 feet over. And he was like taken care of for life.
See?
Because he took the time to use his brain.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's
Not
like a
give up.
hot commodity. That's a hot commodity. And, not giving up. And that's the thing that I think is so important in general. People think because something's not showing up that it's not coming.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. It's just, it is shit is not going to come to you if it's not the time. It just does. That's not how this works.
Yeah. It's certain things that you got to clear.
Yes.
Listen. We both watched it. Okay.
Literally.
Because it's not that it's not there, though. You see what I'm saying?
It's there.
You got to clear so it can fit in.
Mm-hmm.
There's no room.
Mm-hmm. No, especially if you got clutter and shit that you got to get rid of first, like insecurities, like intrusive thoughts, like shit that other people put on you. And I get it. But I feel like a lot of time, like I know for me, stuff comes up and it's for me to look at, love on it. Next. I love to clear. I love to clear. And if something comes up, and especially I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, something kept coming up for me. And I was like, why is this even a thing? So I'm like, all right, what is this?
Yeah.
Why is this coming up? And then I look at it and I'm like, what is this trying to teach me? And I hate doing this. I do. It's ugly and annoying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. I'm like, what do I need to learn? What do I need to let go of? What is trying to pull me back?
That part.
What's trying to keep me small?
Yep.
What is it? What is it? And then I looked at it and I'm like, okay, like that's great. Like next. And I don't need to give attention to it. It's like it's gone. Even like, you want to know something? Even after we had the when we did the podcast last week, we had a situation. We discussed it. We moved on. Boom. That was it. And that's it. And it's acknowledging, feeling it,
right,
loving on it,
right,
clear. What's next? But every time you release something, it's bringing something else into you. And I know people don't want to let go. People want to hold on to the bullshit. It's not even yours. And they're like, oh my God, I'm scared to let go of this thing that annoys me. Yeah. But it's like, but then you get this other fucking thing that comes in that is so amazing. And you're like, oh shit, I was holding on to that trash for nothing.
I'm telling you.
My favorite saying will forever be, you can't pick up gold when you got trash in your hands. And that's it.
I would always hear from a source, I have something so much better for you.
Yep.
And I'm sorry. This is what I'm saying. At the place that you're at, sometimes you cannot see the forest for the trees. But guess what? You won't even see it.
No.
Until it actually comes. You got to just know it. It's like so crazy because it's like blind faith. You have to just let it go and just. I'm sorry. That's not the easiest thing. I'm not gonna lie.
What did Wu-Tang say? My third eye seen it coming before it happened. Like literally. Like a whole word.
Oh my God. And then you look back and you say, what was I doing?
You
what?
Please.
What was I doing?
The most. Doing the most.
Wow.
That's why now forget it.
It's a real thing, but it's a process. And honestly, the process is okay, 1, 2, 3, I'm letting go. Basically. After that, it's just one foot in front of the other. Literally.
My favorite thing is say it out loud and is it true? Does it even sound true? Or are you just making that shit up in your head? Do you know how many times I was just making shit up?
That
I was just making shit up in my head.
Oh my God.
For what?
You're making it up. Oh my God.
I was like, all right. so stupid. Like when I think about it, it's so stupid. Like
Oh my God.
it's the fuckery. There's just so much fuckery.
It
And
is.
then when you see it and you're looking at it, it's like, and then watching other people do it, it's like, oh, poor babies. Because I know that was
No,
me.
for real.
And it's like banging your head against the wall until you're not. I'm telling you, peace is priceless. I would not trade it
You know what?
for anything. That's a t-shirt.
That's a word. Yeah.
It's a shirt. It's a shirt. It's a shirt.
It's like when somebody, it's so ugly because when somebody fight, it's like you have guard dogs and all that. It's like if you try to come and mess up my peace, I will cut you.
I'm gonna get you.
I will cut you. Because to experience that is so blissful. And then it's like you are attracting these people, like all you guys, Nasli, Eve, you especially, my favorite person. I love you.
I love you too.
Peaceful.
Yeah, like if it's not peace, I don't want it. I don't even want to know you. I don't even want to know you. I don't.
It's deep. Yeah. It's at that
And
point.
I used to be like, oh, I feel bad because I know they got no. I know I sound like a savage. I'm okay with it because I worked all the work I did on myself. And no, like, some people are like, well, it's not really work. I pulled myself out of the depths of hell to be where I am today. And I'm sorry if other people have things going on. I get it. But that doesn't mean I got to subscribe to it. Like, I love you where you're at. It's just that I can't be there with you.
Yes.
Because I can't put myself in that predicament again of like, because I see people, that I used to talk to, friends and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I listen a little bit for a minute and I'm like, you're right where I left you.
Yes.
You're right where I left you.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, same conversation,
Mm-hmm.
same thing,
Mm-hmm.
over and over.
Yep.
It's like their own purgatory.
Yeah.
And I can't do it. I'll run away from you. Like with the quickness. Like I do not want to play. I'm sorry, like my peace is too priceless.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one could take it away. It would just be me giving it to people. And I can't do that.
Exactly.
Can't do
exactly
that.
what it would be. Exactly what it would be. It's like going through a game in a level that you already went through and turn around and say, I'm gonna go back over there. I'm gonna go back to that. I'm gonna go back to that. I'm gonna go square one.
Yep, like a bad.
Go ahead and I just came out of that door and I just conquered.
But let me go back again.
Let me just turn back around and go back and just for what?
But when you feel like when you have a calling, there's something calling you, or there's something that's your passion, like whatever that looks like for you, it's not going to look the same for everybody because it's yours, and like there's this one quote and it says, well, there's two. It's God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And then there's another one that is like,
wow.
Did you hear, God called you, but it was like no one else was supposed to hear it. It's not a conference call.
It's not a conference call.
It's for you. It's what is on your heart to do in your life. And if more people listened, I think a lot of times, I got to change my earbud. I think a lot of times people don't realize they're being called. They feel like this little tug on their heart. And they're like, can't be. Nah, it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
No, I could never do that. And I know so many people that wait until they're older. And then they're sitting there like I never did what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I promised myself, that I would not sit and wait
Yes.
until I was 70 years old to be like, I really should have, or maybe I could have. No, like all in, showing up, however it unfolds,
Mm-hmm.
whoever we attract along the way,
Right.
whoever wants to, Wonder Twin activate, whatever it looks like for people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that what we're doing energetically, in the spirit, coming here, like, it's so big. It's so big.
It's not. It's not even.
It's not even a joke. It's not even a game. And watching it unfold is like amazing. It's amazing.
It's the answering of the call. Answering of the call. I feel so at peace, like I said, with you guys, and safe to do the things that I know I was supposed to be doing, but didn't
Right.
see how I was going to come into effect. But
Right.
watching it now, I can, okay. So I didn't see how, but now I see how it's going to come into effect. I might not know verbatim everything, how everything's going to, everything, but I
Right.
see now that okay, this is this. Here it is. It's about to. Because honestly, and when we talked about this earlier, I'm not waiting on like a certain type of face or a certain type of a person. You know what I mean?
Right.
The attributes and all that are there, and then the manifestation of whoever that is will come into play because
Mm-hmm.
it has to be this consciousness and this awareness to even want to even do that. You know what I mean? To even be willing to even do it. So that's what I'm saying. Like to even waste time, like, oh, this person didn't want to do it, and or waste time being mad at that, whatever. That's just because they wasn't called to do it. Period.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Period. You know what I mean? It's not nothing but that, and that's it. Because if you are, then you will.
Yep.
Period.
If you wanted to, you would.
That's it.
Sorry. Like at this point, like I love where everything is going. I love being able to like be around people whose energy feels like home,
Mm-hmm.
and that there's like actual genuine love. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, I love you, boo. It's not that. It's no, I love you. Like I could say that straight to your face and I mean that shit. And that
Because
is
you
beautiful.
love yourself, though. See,
That part.
the self love
That
is what
part.
attracts the love. And that's
Yep.
what that Augmentino, that last part, it was like, most of all, I will love myself. You see what I'm saying?
That's like the best part.
That is the best part because after all that, you're starting off with love and what it is, the secret of it. And then at the end, you're like, most of all, I will love myself because once you love yourself, all this other stuff. See, if you love yourself, you're gonna ask yourself those questions. You're gonna try to
Exactly.
align to the best of your ability with that same asking you of, you know what I'm saying, what that's asking of you, because you might
Right.
not always make the cut. You might not always, with each question, you might, that's why they like telling you to do it like a tally, because I probably didn't do that good today.
I got like a 1 yesterday.
People got on my nerve today, and I didn't really make the cut. Okay, but
But
at the end of the day,
but your effort in general, you beat out millions of people who didn't even try.
that's the truth.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like people think you have to do something huge and go dive in and all this shit. No, you're literally ahead of most of humanity
Mm-hmm.
by doing these things. Like you're ahead of humanity
Who's
in
checking
general.
this 3 times a day? Who's checking this with themselves even 1 time a day?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure people are doing it. I'm saying, but who's doing it?
I don't know anybody outside of us. If we did, we'd be doing it with them.
That part. Self-love. I
Where it's
swear
at.
to you. And I hate even saying
It's
it.
where it's at.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't even know. You understand? Like, that's what attracts you. That's what attracts what you need, or what you want, and all those things. Because once you already have it generating in you, which is where it's at anyway, then there it is. And that's the one thing. Like, because people think, like, do you love yourself? Okay. Uh, I got on the latest, greatest. I got this, I got that. I got my hair done, my nails, and all that. No, that's not what it is. It's not an outer thing.
Right.
It's like,
No,
okay,
it's inner.
like, do you know your self worth? Let me tell you something. I didn't even know about no self worth until I was like really hearing the fact that this is already my inheritance. It's already my birthright. You know, people are born into certain situations that don't even. I didn't want to. We haven't got to go here, but I'm going to say this. Even carrying your child in your womb, okay, the information, the things that are going on in your life, your child is being affected.
Yep, downloading it.
You're coming in, and you're coming home. You're bringing that newborn baby home to bullshit.
Yep,
okay?
Literally.
Sonar came back to me like today. I was watching and it said sonar, and it made me think again. The things that you're getting, your antennas is retracting. Just unworthiness.
Right.
Off top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my thing is like, okay, it takes a long time to even love yourself sometimes.
Yeah, it took me a long time.
So like once you do, and once you get the clue, like I'm so happy that I mean, like really all along, really, all I have to do is love myself. But then,
and that's really it. That's the sauce, and I know that.
Look at this though. No, because look, once you realize that all you have to do is love yourself, here goes the contrast. You mean to tell me I hated myself? You mean to tell me I didn't love myself? I didn't like myself? And then all that gets to rising up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to really, truly let that go in order to even receive your abundance that you already had. You got to move all out the way because that really doesn't even have to even be there. But it is, and it has been. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like
a whole cleansing, purging.
The whole thing. But I love that we're raw and uncut, and we're doing this right now in real time.
Right.
This is our real time life. This is what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like raw and uncut. Like there's no punches pulled. Like you can ask me anything. I'm gonna tell you because I want people to see that I'm doing it every single day, day by day. It's not, you know what I mean? I'm like cutting stuff off every day. Like that tries to rise up, like you said. Like what is this that's making me make me feel small and especially after I already know what my abundance is, what my inheritance is,
and who I am.
And like, who goes there?
Halt. But when I look back at like the last, year and a half, whatever, and just looking how things evolve and we're growing and learning about ourselves, learning to love ourselves more. Because I mean, you can always love yourself more.
Yeah.
Always. Like that's just, I mean, I for some reason lately I've been drawn really to like the opposite end of that is the people who don't know what that feels like.
Right.
And the people who can't even imagine experiencing life.
I'm sorry, that was me. I cannot.
And that was me. And that's why it's like lately, for some reason, it's been a thing because I think I've waited so long. And even though I know time's not linear, and it's really not long in the grand scheme of eternity,
Right.
However, I'm trucking along and I'm watching my life and I'm like, all right, like I know something's coming. I don't know what it is, but I know something really good. Like we're always like, oh, I feel something. I know something. And then shit pops up and you're like, oh shit, there it goes. Oh shit, there it goes. And you can't see it when you're in it.
Nope.
But when you're out of it and looking back, you're like, oh shit, that's what it was. That's what it is. And like, even like watching everybody come together now, like when we were in the Sutra, like I said, there was a group of people in there. I feel like a lot of those people
Amazing.
we were really supposed to do stuff with, but people fell out of alignment. People had stuff going on. And we just kept going. We
Mm-hmm.
We never stopped. And like,
going.
a lot of times people don't understand, like, we do this is our life. Like, what we do and how we are and the things we share and doing a podcast, doing the rooms, all the things, like, this is who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't fake the funk. I'm not like, oh yeah,
mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I'm love and light. Like, listen, I am love and light, but I'm some go fuck yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
But I do it every day. Like, this is, I feel like people that are like
valid.
really love and light, like they're like love and light, love and light. It's like, but are you really doing this work? Because this work isn't pretty. Healing is ugly. Looking at yourself is ugly.
Yeah.
Who wants to acknowledge the ugly shit about yourself?
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it. Like, yeah, I get it. But like, what? Like, I don't know. I've always been like that though. Like, I love people. I love people. I love them. But I'm still like, but you could go fuck off. Like, I've just always been like that. And like, now I'm grateful to be around people who are okay with that.
Yeah.
That are okay with that and know that that's just me and I'm accepted regardless.
Yeah.
I don't have to be like a different person and show up and be like, okay, guys, everything is raindrop, fucking rainbows and lollipops. And yeah, it is. But there's also another piece to that too, because healing's hard. Healing's hard.
I am like a very long suffering person, but like, like if I had this discussion earlier with somebody, I'm like, if I keep on having to tell you over and over again, because there's like I could see you just being like an ice queen. I said yeah. You know why? Because it's another side to the
coin.
You know what I mean? And I'd rather be that. But if I'm keep on talking to you, telling you, and I don't want to scream and yell, I'm not gonna do all that. But I'm slowly walking to the ice box. But once I get there, the ice,
it's cold.
The ice goddess or queen is in effect. You cannot thaw her out. See, this is me thawed out.
Right. It's cold over there.
So
funny.
But I mean, we all are.
I'm a work in progress.
Yeah.
I'll forever be a work in progress, But I keep going though. I keep showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like I'm on like can't stop, won't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now, like I feel very much like things are coming into fruition that I've been waiting for years. And even as far as like stuff that we've talked about for the last year, like we've literally like the workshop, like speaking on stages, like all these things, like we've talked them into existence and attracted all the experiences in.
Yes.
So as this is unfolding, it's like, ooh, like what is next? It is so exciting.
And that's
so exciting.
Like I feel like love is showing up as you guys to me. You know what I mean? Because all the things that I feel in my heart to do, I know I can't do them by myself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And the versions of me that are aligning with that is showing up as you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what the whole collective thing is about. To bring it all the way full circle. It's
Yeah,
because
because everybody's a little different. Everybody's bringing something different.
Yes. Yes. And when you call and you just know it and you're not too proud to show it, then you just
Well, that's what I think is a huge thing too. A lot of people are like, I don't want to say that I feel like this because people are going to feel it's not, I gave up that because it's not my problem how people feel in regards to how I show up.
Yep.
If I bother you, it is a you problem that you need to look at yourself and say, what is it about that girl that triggers me?
Yep.
I didn't do anything to you. You're doing it to you.
Yeah.
So what is going on with you?
Yeah.
And I think that was like the sutra really for me set me free.
Yeah.
Because I used to be like, I don't want people to think that I think I'm some. That's not my problem.
No.
Other people's opinion of me is not my problem. That is absolutely a them problem, not me. Because I know who I am. I know how I feel. I know how I show up. And it's always with love and a little go fuck yourself. But it's always love. And even if I say something and people take it a certain way, it's not meant to hurt anybody. But maybe if it bothers you, it's because it's something you need to examine and say, why did that
bother me?
Why'd that bother me? Like, why is that like a thing? Like, am I making it a thing? And see, I'm very good as far as like that. Like, if someone says something to me, number one, I know it has nothing to do with me at all. You know,
it's how. Yeah, it really is not. It's really not.
Same source from a different point of view. Absolutely. You know, it makes me think of like, for instance, so I'm here experiencing, right? And I have my life experience, but then I talk to you and you're telling me your life experiences, right? So let's say you went on like a vacation or something and you walk me through your vacation. Like, even though I didn't experience it, I experienced it through you.
Right.
So since I'm like a fractal of you, of source, and I didn't experience it through you, I did.
Right.
Because I can go there in my head. I can go on that vacation and see what you're seeing as you're explaining it. And I think that's really, as we're experiencing and we're source experiencing itself, like, I think that's so huge.
It is.
Because everybody brings something. I'm learning from other people. I'm growing, expanding because of situations they've been in. Like, when we talk about our past, when we talk about the hardships in our life, you know, maybe people haven't gone through it. So they experience that through us. But then on the other hand, there are people that have experienced it that can heal through us.
Yep.
So it's like such a beautiful dynamic, I want to say.
It is.
And that's why, like, I love this whole thing. And like, I'm okay saying like, I'm called to do great things. I'm not embarrassed of it. I don't feel like I shouldn't say it anymore. Because at first I was like, I don't know, guys. I don't. Now I'm like, no, like,
the whole time doing that.
Yeah, because if you know that you're a walking manifestation of God, why are you denying yourself?
Right.
Why are you denying the greatness you are?
Right.
For what?
But we destroy. So, we perish because of lack of knowledge.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay showing up and being great.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. And I'm okay with that. And if other people aren't, that's okay too. You can go be great in your own right. Everybody's great in their own right. Everybody is an original. You're an original.
They really
There's no one like you.
Everybody is original.
You are the secret sauce. I made a
Yep.
video about this today.
Mhm.
You're the sauce. No one can be you. No one can do what you're doing like you're doing it. And that's,
Right.
I always say that about us with this podcast.
Mhm.
Nobody's out here doing what we're doing like we're doing it. And it's
No.
not being cocky.
It's not
I'm telling the
possible.
truth. It's not possible. You're not us.
No.
We're not you. And it's a beautiful thing. But that's why the fact that we are so raw and uncut and we don't sit here and, okay, guys, like, let's talk about blah, blah, like that it is off the rip and we're just talking.
Yep.
That's why it's so huge. Because we're showing people too, you can walk in
They
your
do it too.
authenticity.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because that's freeing as fuck.
Mhm.
As fuck. It just is.
I crack up all day, this lady.
I love you.
You too. Hilarious. Oh my God.
So I'm going to read this little thing before we go. And because I love it so much. And this is from the Og Mandino book. Anybody that doesn't have it, or if you're listening, it's called The Greatest Secret in the World. And if you watch the replay, let us know you watched it. Hashtag replay in the chat.
Mhm.
And on YouTube, you can like hashtag and talk in the chat. But this is like the review paragraph for the week. And we've been reading this. We're on day 11 today.
Mhm.
And this is seriously like transforming how I feel. Like
Mhm.
I feel it. Because this is making me, even the one part, and it's like, always will I dig for reasons to applaud. I feel that.
Definitely, yes.
I feel that, and I feel like when I'm moved to praise, I will shout from the roofs.
Yeah.
That's how I want it to be. Like,
Yeah.
I love that. So I feel this book like working through me and I love it.
Mhm.
So here's the review paragraph for the week. It says, I greeted this day with love in my heart. I praised my enemies. I thought I love you silently to all I met. And I love myself enough to protect my body from overindulgence and my mind from evil and despair. And I think that is a beautiful way to end the day. Like,
Right.
It's just beautiful. And really showing up with love. And, if you get the call, all right, like, I just keep thinking, collect call, like, do you accept? Like, literally, like, all day I was thinking that. Because are you going to walk the walk? Or are you just saying you are? Are you going to really do it?
Right.
And it's uncomfortable at first, but you get used to it.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's a mood. So we're going to go. And that's exactly every day a little bit. And I think Nasli wrote it before. It was, little habits every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally
it's life changing.
Little habits every day, little tweaks, changed everything.
Yeah.
So we love you guys, and we will be back next Thursday. So we appreciate everybody coming through and hanging out with us this whole time.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to the replay, hashtag replay, let us know where you're listening from. And if you find value in what you're hearing, share it with a friend. I know this isn't your conventional podcast, but I do know that I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Hey.
I'm here for it. I love what we're doing. I love what we're doing. I do. I love every minute of it.
Everything.
I love it. I love it. I love all of it. I'm so grateful, beyond grateful for what we're doing and being a part of something just so huge. I just love it.
Something greater.
Man, listen. So beautiful.
Like eyes have not seen, ears have not heard.
No. And this is just the beginning. This is just a little taste, a little snack. So, all right, everybody. So we love you guys. And we will be
Yes, we
back
love
next
you.
Thursday. And if you guys aren't on Clubhouse, download Clubhouse. Come check us out in there. We're there every morning,
Life
9
after
a.m.
lockup.
Eastern. Yep, Life After Lockup.
Yeah.
And at first, you know, just disclaimer, it was really for felons at first, as I am a felon. I'm a felon.
Melissa.
Like, even saying that is so funny.
You can do
I'm an
stand-up.
actual.
I'm sorry.
But, you know, really, when you think about it, like,
Oh,
people are in a mental prison. So, like, really, it's so
And what?
appropriate anyway.
mhm.
Literally. Like, mental, in their own mental prison forever. And you don't have to be
What
there.
happens to the
But,
10-year
you
ban?
know. Literally. Sitting in the clink. Didn't even know. It's a shame. But it's all for
You know
now.
what?
It's all for what we're doing.
You know what? Wait a minute. That's what we got.
What?
We talk about that.
What?
So, just the whole mental prison.
Yes. Yeah.
The
That's
whole
the thing.
lockup.
Maybe we'll do that next week. Maybe we'll talk about that next week.
It's really a thing.
I think that'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for 25 years. I was beating myself in the head.
Man.
So silly. So
Yeah.
we love you guys, and we will see you next week. And come check us out on Clubhouse. Share us with a friend. And we love you guys.
Love you.
So I hope everybody has a good night.
Thank
Bye.
God. Bye.